Now that we have successfully installed VMware Workstation, let's open it up and see what we've got, and especially what's kind of new and different if you've seen earlier versions of this. So I'll just double click on the desktop shortcut. This was put there by default when we installed VMware Workstation, and if you'll notice right here, your machine will probably do the same thing. When you double click on that desktop icon, it's going to take it just a second to kind of get oriented and do all of its smoke and mirrors work back there in the background of the operating system and actually open up. Now from the time you double click to the time it opens could be 2 or 3 seconds, and you're not getting any kind of visual that you didn't successfully open it. Just kind of hang loose a second, be patient, it will appear. Notice what happens. This is called the VMware Workstation window, and this is where you're going to begin your days. You're going to spend a lot of time out here, and we're going to go over all these various settings as we move through the course here. But notice the layout of the window. On the Home tab, we get all of our options for creating a new virtual machine, opening a new one, setting preferences. All kinds of cool things can happen here, and it's very wizard-like, laid out very clean, very neat. At the bottom, I will actually see all the virtual machines that I've either installed or I've used before, and I can easily get to those just by clicking on them. Now, for example, you'll see down here I have a tab that corresponds to this particular virtual machine, and just by mousing over it I can see that this is a Windows XP Professional virtual machine. Or I can go to the tab here and see that it's XP Professional. That's the name I gave it when I installed it, and we're going to configure this very machine later on. I'm just going to kind of delete this one, redo it, but I wanted this one here so you can see what's going on. Notice I can configure all my devices right here. These are collapsible. And then I can also notice on the description I can type here and put this is my basic XP test machine. And so now just by looking at it I can see instantly what's going on here. And notice right here I've got a nice quick hypertext link to all my virtual machine settings, and I can very easily change these things. Then there's the options tab here, and we're going to play with most of this, if not every bit of it, by the time we get to the end of this course. Now on the toolbar up here, you'll notice a lot of things can happen. First of all, on the left side here, I can power on this machine, the one I have selected right here. I can also start it up as a guest, which is the same more or less as power on. I can power on to BIOS. Now this is big because in previous versions you had to try to start it up and hit different keys and do all kinds of things to get to the BIOS, and there is a virtual BIOS on each one of these machines, so we can actually get to that. As we move across the toolbar here, you'll notice right here we're going to take a snapshot of this virtual machine. We'll talk about snapshots later. We can manage our snapshots. We can change the way our layout looks here by clicking on these options. We can also go full screen with this so that this takes up our entire screen. That's going to be a personal preference, and a lot of people feel differently about that, so just do whatever you're comfortable with. Then on our menus up here, notice we can set to view full screen. We can auto size, we can center it, we can do all kinds of things. We can customize what's going on in our environment here. Then we can get to, from the menu, all these various functionalities. Most of them are represented right here on the toolbar. So we're going to work in this environment throughout the course, and we'll be back in here many times taking a look at the various functionalities involved in creating these virtual machines and managing the virtual machines, tweaking them to get what we want, and then we'll jump into some tips and tricks toward the end of the course. But this is the VMware Workstation window.